Mexico is a great place to soak up the sun, visit historical sites, and catch a flight aboard a 737 MAX, courtesy of the nation's flag carrier, Aeromexico. Aeromexico made headlines back in December 2020 as the second airline to resume commercial MAX flights, and today I'll be flying aboard one of their MAX 9 variants from Cancun to Mexico City. Passing through the airport right now can be tricky, as almost every country has their own unique set of requirements for travelers, and the airlines are required to make sure that all of your documents are in order before you get on the plane. As you can imagine, this can definitely be a headache. And since I was catching a connecting flight in Mexico City on my way back to New York, it fell on the Aeromexico ground staff to ensure that I had all the necessary forms and health tests to fly both within Mexico and then on to the US. I have to say that the staff working the check-in counter did a great job though, and they got us sorted in no time at all. That said, if you're planning on taking a trip, definitely do your research before you get to the airport, because it's no fun filling out a mountain of paperwork when you're rushing to catch a flight. As I mentioned before, I'll be flying aboard a 737 MAX 9 today. Aeromexico received its first MAX 9 at the end of May, and it's currently operating 6 of these aircraft and at least a few more. They also have the MAX 8, and you can find these planes flying from Mexico to the US sometimes. The MAX 9, on the other hand, has only been flying domestically, and from what I've been able to tell, this is due to some sort of legal issue. After hanging around in the airport for a while, it was time to get going. Boarding was done by groups and was nice and smooth. There's 181 seats on this plane. 16 Premium, 18 Economy Plus, and 147 Standard Economy seats, where I'll be sitting today. My first impressions of this plane are good. The seats seem comfortable, and like all MAXs, there's plenty of overhead storage space, and the windows are huge. And before long, the cabin doors were closed and we got ready to leave.
Mexico International Airport. The estimated flight time to Mexico International Airport will be 1 hour and 50 minutes. We will fly at an altitude over 36,000 feet above the sea level. Executive Verdalles is in charge of the flight attendant group and will be happy to assist you to make your trip comfortable and safe.
Today we left from Terminal 4, which was opened in 2017 and made Cancun International the first airport in Mexico to have 4 terminals. Now that we've reached cruising altitude, let's take a closer look around. As I mentioned before, the seat was nice, and I was glad to see an adjustable headrest, but the legroom was a little tight. And it feels even worse if the person in front of you reclines their seat. The seat back pockets are these mesh-style ones that are open on the sides. I'm not a big fan of these because they're not too good at, well, storing things, and if you do put anything in there, it'll cut down on your legroom even more. On the positive side though, there's outlets underneath the seat in front of you, and seat back IFE screens. The tray table was an average size and pulls out from in front of you. There's also individual air vents and reading lights. Since this was a fairly short flight, the crew wasted no time with the snack service. Back here in economy, we got some hand sanitizer, a pack of peanuts, and a drink. The lavatories on board the MAX are one of its most recognizable features, and that's because they're very cozy. If you're not a fan of small spaces, then I'd recommend taking care of business before you get on the plane. However, I do love the Boeing Sky interior. That's also a hallmark of the MAX. Since this was such a short flight, I really didn't get to use the IFE system too much, but I was impressed with what I saw. The screen was crystal clear and easy to use, and there was a nice variety of movies and TV shows. Below the screen was this QR code that made it really easy to access the onboard Wi-Fi. I definitely appreciated this because sometimes airlines can make it overly complicated to get online. And if you're not tech savvy like me, then that can be a problem. I've flown on the MAX quite a few times now, and I've always enjoyed it. The cabins are quiet and spacious, and those large windows that I mentioned before are always nice to look out of. I'm sure I'll catch a lot of flack in the comments for praising this bleaker plane, but I've always had good experiences flying on the MAX. If you're feeling up to it, you can catch some very affordable domestic flights on board Aeromexico's MAXs. One-way flights from Cancun to Mexico City can go for as little as $65. Do you think you're ready to step on board one? Let me know below. It wasn't long before Mexico City came into view and we prepared for landing.
Mexico is partially cloudy sky with temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, with some rain forecast for this night. As soon as we get the information of the arrival gate and the conveyor that you will be able to pick up your luggage, we will let you know.
This was my first time flying with Aeromexico, and I was impressed. Sure, the seat was a bit cramped, but overall the cabin on this plane was really nice, and the staff, both on the ground and in the air, were professional and courteous. All said and done, I'd be happy to fly with them again. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.